This is Journey's End, a home where architecture and nature live as one. Set high above the Hood Canal, this home sits gracefully on the land. Golden in the morning light, glowing warm as the sun sinks low, it's not simply just a residence, but a retreat, a place built to calm the spirit, to invite reflection, and to create moments of joy that last long after the day is done. From the moment you arrive, the connection is undeniable. With over 150 feet of private shoreline, wooden stairs will take you down to the water's edge. Mooring rights make adventure effortless. Boats, kayaks, quiet evenings down at the tide. And as you stand at the shoreline, you feel the house behind you, watching, sheltering, reflecting the landscape back into its class.
The architecture speaks in scale. 38-foot ceilings rise like the trunks of Engelmann spruce. Their sheer presence brings both wonder and calm. At center stands a monumental river rock fireplace, a grounding element, as if it has been here for centuries, waiting for the house to be built all around it. Glass crowns the structure, opening the interior to the sky so even indoors, you remain part of the landscape. Every proportion is deliberate. The beams, the staircase, the rooms themselves, all balanced, neither too large nor too small, but exactly as they were meant to be. In the world of luxury real estate, the most exceptional homes aren't just characterized by square footage or shoreline, as they're defined by the story. Every estate begins as a vision, and the rarest ones, like Journey's End, are shaped by hands that care deeply and hearts that dream boldly. This home is more than architecture. It's a legacy, a handcrafted expression of purpose, passion, and presence. And today, I have the privilege of introducing you to the visionaries behind it all, Mark and Debbie Gilman. They didn't just build a home, they poured their lives into it, and now they're inviting you behind the scenes to share how Journey's End came to life and why this place will always be more than words can ever say.
The property kind of demanded what you build here. It's a unique property. The scenery is pretty incredible, and tried to work into the design elements something that kind of fit with the environment where the house was being built. So some of the design elements came in, including the size of certain things like the staircases, the trusses that basically hold the structure up. They could have been smaller than what they were, but we just knew that certain things and certain elements had to come into play to make it all fit from a scale and perspective standpoint. And we really felt the property kind of was calling us to build something that fit in the environment and was unique.
And we looked for a long time. So we finally found this one, and great story. My mom and stepfather came and asked the neighbor about this piece of property. It was not on the market, and we went and found the guy who owned it, and I begged him to sell us the property. So that's kind of how we ended up with it.
So I was fortunate when I got out of college that I started working for a general contractor, and a lot of the work that I did with that general contractor was building McDonald's restaurants, and had a knack for building them quick and less expensive. And then McDonald's hired me, and I went to work for them in the construction area. Ended up being involved in building locations pretty much around the world. my corporate career from there. Went to Walmart, worked directly for the president of Walmart. He then went on to become chairman of Blockbuster, and I went there with him. When I left the corporate world, and I found the perfect place to decompress. We're sitting here.
I would want to say this felt like home once the house was built, but honestly, I would say this felt like home the day Mr. McFan said, "I'm going to sell it to you." And I thought of nothing else. I didn't even care if we pulled a mobile home on it, just to be on it. I honestly, at the time, before we started to build, I'd be happy with a little camper to be here. I just wanted to be here every chance we had. I don't like to use the word magical, but I could almost use the word magical. It's just a beautiful little slice of heaven right here on earth, just this little corner of the world.
So started with a blank piece of paper, usually notebook pad size. I had 3 elements of the house that were elements that I'd picked up from other houses I'd built at one point in time. The primary suite was from one house that I built in the Dallas area. This great room that we're sitting in now came from another house that I built in the Dallas area. And then that kitchen layout came from a third house. So once I had the main floor worked out in my mind, then it was an issue of where are we going to put the other rooms? What are the purposes of those other rooms going to be?
The bunk bed rooms were, first of all, I just fell in love with this picture and I thought it would be really neat to have bunk beds upstairs, but it kind of transformed into something a lot more. Some of the things when we were designing the house, there was, things that were important to me and things that were important to him. One of the things that was important to me is I didn't want antler chandeliers. We were gonna have this big, beautiful log house. I didn't want everything so log cabin-y that there weren't female touches. So I had different lighting setups in here. I wanted gardens. I wanted some of the women touches I wanted to make sure that I had, but the cabinets in the kitchen I wanted to look more like beautiful pieces of furniture and not just rustic old log cabin style. So I wanted granite countertops and most of the outside. Honestly, I like doing the outside in the gardens and the yard and the flowers, and I love having lots of flowers outside to cut and bring in the house all summer, so that makes me happy.
I always wanted to do log, but then once we got in this environment, I just thought from a look, feel, what the environment demanded, and it was building a log place was something I always wanted to do anyway. So this was a challenge, and then my folks' place was a timber frame structure, which I never built a log home before. I'd never built a timber frame structure before. So it was the challenge of doing both of them.
I guess a really great way to describe living here is you literally have a front row seat to the greatest show on earth all the time, and just the canvases of the sunsets and the canvas in watching the clouds change. And I remember when the kids were little, we would just sit outside on the deck and make caricatures and what's in the clouds and what do you see and the star. Oh, that one thing I keep forgetting to say, but you go outside at night, there's no ambient light. The stars are like, you could almost touch them. I mean, they're right there. You can see everything. And so quiet. Seabeck's very quiet. So it is private. It's just such a beautiful place to be.
There was 2 guys, my best friend, his father lived in Redding, California, and he had a friend of his. I got to a point where there was things I knew I could do with my own hands, but one set of hands wouldn't do it. So the last year and a half we were working on this house, they came up here from California and basically lived here and helped me complete it. Those guys had a lot of great ideas. Some of the stuff that I never had done before, like trying to get trim and windows to work with round logs. The older gentleman, my best friend's dad, solved a lot of the things that I probably would have eventually figured it out, but he made it a lot easier. Obviously, we've got the ownership of having done it with our own hands and having the vision, but when I designed this place, it was my desire to have it not only be a structure, but a work of art. And I would like to think that whoever comes into this next, although they didn't build it with their own hands, they consider it a piece, they don't consider it a home, they consider it a piece of art. So they're basically living in a piece of living art. And I'm hoping that that's how it speaks to somebody, because most people that come in here, after they've been here a while, it's not a home anymore, it's a piece of art for them. This town, and it reminds me of when I was a kid. People know your business a little bit, they're not nosy. It's a town where people are, willing to, anybody has an issue or problem or, runs into, I can't tell you how many times I've run into something here where I needed more than one set of hands and my logging buddies would show up, or that's just the sense of community you have here. The Christian Conference Center that's right across the street from the Mercantile here in town, we run into people all over the Seattle area that have been there for some form of a Christian conference, and their reaction, every time you talk about Seabeck, everybody lights up and they glow regarding their experiences they've had here. Scenic Beach State Park is right there. So we adjoin with Scenic Beach State Park. People have been to the park. And then the number of people that live along the Hood Canal that seem to have a larger or longer life expectancy than other places. I think it's the quality of the air. It's probably, the salt water, but I think it's more has to do with the way in which people conduct themselves and live their lives here. We went from being these oddball, 30-year-olds that are building this, what appeared to be this log mansion on the water, to we very much have become a part of the community and are welcomed in the community. And I think anybody else here that comes here will enjoy that. For me, having been in, I won't get into a lot of detail, but probably some of the most stressful environments you can be in the corporate world. I think if somebody's in that environment and working in that environment right now, them being here, I wish I could have done anything to have this environment when I was in those pressure cooker jobs. This place would allow you to escape, even if it's for a night or for a weekend. You're working your 8-to-5 job, but you've now got an environment that when you're not on the clock, you feel like you're in a different world.
Journey's End is more than architecture. It is a place where nature, craft, and memories converge. Where mornings begin with the tide, where days unfold across water and timber, and where nights end beneath a canopy of stars. This is not simply a home for today, it is a legacy. An heirloom of craftsmanship waiting for its next steward. A home not only to live in, but to belong to.
To the next owners, I would want you to feel like as soon as you walk in the door, it is your home. It's what you're going to make of it. So many great memories made here, and so many new ones to be made. This home is it's a place to gather.